Poland, Serbia, Slovenia, Albania,
Welcome everyone.
Romania. Wow.
Welcome everyone to our webinar this evening. Give us a wave if you hear us.
Hello.
Cool. As I get my headphones. Tonight we have a special guest, Miss Lisa Hundley from Austria, who's going to lead us through this fabulous webinar.
Ooh, from France. Hello, France. From Florida. Wow.
So we have people from all over the world. And
Hesada. In the hat. Nice.
And we are recording. Welcome to our Facebook Live people as well. It's great to have you here. My name is Kevin McCoy. I'm here in Belgrade, Serbia with Ivana Bankovic and Lisa Hundley in Austria. We're with the Regional English Language Office at the U.S. Embassy. And today is our first session in taking English teaching online, a webinar course. Okay, you know that we're going to be recording this right now, so it's for privacy purposes. It's probably best if you don't put your full name in the on your video. And I'll show you how we can change that in just a minute. I'd like to introduce you to the Zoom toolbar, which you see at the bottom of your screen. On the left, you have your microphone, but you will not be able to talk today because there's so many of us.
Hey,
almost
Dario
300
Travnik.
right now.
Wow.
But you can control your video. Towards the middle, you'll see chat. We would encourage you to click on that and open your chat box, and you will be able to say hello to friends via chat, as many of you are already doing. Feel free to type in the chat box. Hello from Poland, Beata from Poland, Albania, Romania, excellent. You will not be able to use the share screen button or the record button, but look to the far right and you'll see reactions. So everyone, click on that reaction and give me a reaction, either applause or a thumbs up would be great. One of the two. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Now, if you see your picture or your square with your name on it in video, there are 3 dots there. And you can click on those 3 dots and then activate rename, and you'll be able to rename yourself. So you can just put in just your first name or your nickname or whatever. It's best not to have your full name. Okay? Thank you very much. And something else. You're going to want a marker or a pen. A marker is best, and some paper during this webinar, because we will be using them. All right. I'd love to see where people are from right now. Some of you are already typing in the chat box. Alma from Albania. It's great to let us know what country you're from. We'd love to see. Olya's from Ukraine. We got Kosovo. We got Romania. We got Nenad from Serbia. I think I know you, Nenad.
Whoa, so fast.
Oh, it's great. We've got lots of people from the region. Wonderful. We welcome you all. As you know, we're going to have 5 sessions this week. 5. And they are as follows. Making Online Language Learning Interactive is today's lesson with Lisa Hundley. And tomorrow she'll be doing Google Classroom, getting the most out of it. You can see the rest of the schedule right before your very eyes. And once again, we have 2 times at 16 or 19. You will need a different room password, a room code for the 19 sessions, the ones that start in the evening. So without further ado, Lisa Hundley, we're going to turn it over to you with session 1, Making Online Learning Interactive. And we go to you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see where you're from in the chat. I'm looking at I have my iPad next to me with the chat function so I can read your chats as well. Swad. Hello, Elmira. Nice to see you. Mwah. I have a question before we start. Where are you all tuning in from? Are you at home? Are you on a computer? Are you on a phone, on a park bench? Can you do me a favor, take your piece of paper and write a word or phrase on your piece of paper and tell us where you are connecting from right now. I'm just curious. We know kind of the countries, but what are you using? For example, I'm at home on my computer. So can you show us, we got home, okay. And I am guessing if someone's home, then that means probably working on a computer or a laptop. I'm just scrolling through the images because I can only see a few of you at a time. So just hold it up to the screen on laptop at home. Thank you. Home on laptop. Because I don't know, maybe somebody's outside on their phone. I don't know. We've also got comments home at the computer, laptop, home, laptop, and phone. Home sweet home. Okay, so it looks like a lot of us are at home. Mobile phone at home. Okay, if you're on your phone, okay. If you're tuning in on you're at the dentist's lobby. That's amazing. I haven't heard that before. No paper, coming back from a walk. Okay, well, Justina, if you can, grab a piece of paper. If you can't, that's okay. Okay, so a lot of people are at home or maybe outside somewhere. So I know the situation for where everybody can go at the moment is a little bit different maybe for all of us, but okay, using your mobile. So I'm curious to see how this experience is if you're just using a mobile phone, but anyway, we'll find out a little bit later. Good, okay, so as Kevin mentioned, my name is Lisa Hundley and I am from the United States, but I currently live and work in Eisenstadt, Austria, and that's where I'm coming for you this afternoon. I see it's very windy outside and very sunny. So I'd like to give you a couple tips this week. Today we're focusing on interaction and teaching online. And one thing I was thinking of that I think is something special to consider when we're talking about online teaching is that, oh, hey, Mark, is that I'm not teaching online right now because I want to teach an online course. I'm teaching online because I have to, because there's a global pandemic. And I think most of you are in the same situation or a similar situation. So I think that then brings up a few different issues of, there's a difference between preparing a whole course online and then suddenly having to move everything online. So I'd like to give you some practical ideas. I will say that what this course is not is I'm not going to try to tell you the best way to teach online, and I'm not going to give you guidelines on formal assessment that you can use at your institution. And I'm also not going to give you a set of worksheets that you can use tomorrow in class. Okay. I'll give you ideas of how to make worksheets though, probably. All right. So hang on a second. I just lost my screen. This just happened just now. There we go. Okay, great. So as I mentioned, I am working in teaching in Eisenstadt, Austria. It's near Vienna, right next to Hungary, and working at a gymnasium teaching students ages 10 to 18. Before I continue, can everyone hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up into your camera if you can hear me? Good, I got a lot of thumbs up. Am I speaking okay? Too fast, too slow? Give me a thumbs up. Is it okay? All right. Thank you. So I'm teaching students ages 10 to 18, and we turned to online instruction on March 16th, 2020. So almost 2 months ago. And we're actually slowly starting to go back to school, but we're still primarily online. And we're using traditional textbooks and also there's an online component as well from the publisher, but we're still using quite traditional materials. And we have an online learning platform to keep things more or less organized. Okay, so I'm going to start by asking you another question before we go into details. And please write your responses in the chat. What are some specific challenges that you're experiencing right now with online schooling, challenges at your school or with your school or with your institution? Can you just give us some responses in the chat? And I'm just going to take a look over to my left. Okay, getting used to Zoom, motivating students, lack of interest. Too much technology. Okay. Poor internet. I'm just jotting also down some of your ideas. Students copying. Online marking. Yeah, I'll give you some tips for that later this week. I have a couple. Oh, eye strain. Yeah, that's a real factor. Students are cheating, or maybe students are overloaded, feeling the pressure of so many assignments or tools to use. Yeah, not all students have internet. I know that's an issue, I think, everywhere. I know it is in the United States. I know it is in Austria. Oh, students don't want to use cameras. Okay. Haha, they pretend they don't have internet so they can skip doing the work. That's interesting. Okay. How to check their progress. So I'm
wondering,
some,
Lisa, if
yeah.
students need to use their cameras? What do you think about that?
I think for some assignments they don't. I think that audio, it depends on what you're doing. If there's a live session that they need to be at, they could certainly participate just with audio. If some students aren't comfortable showing their face on camera, I think that's a fair concern. No privacy, no discipline at home. Okay, the home environment also can play a huge role as far as how students are able to cope with digital schooling. Okay. Not having the same atmosphere in the real classroom. Okay, those are some things that I'll touch on a little bit today as we talk about interaction. It's hard to get feedback because you can't see their faces. Okay, good. Thank you. These are fantastic comments, and I see some trends, but there are a couple of unique ones as well. Young learners, yeah, maybe their attention span isn't very high. All right, so we've got a few more questions for you, and this is going to be done in a different format. This is going to be done on a tool using Mentimeter.com, and there will be a series of questions, actually two questions. When you answer the first one, you're going to see a button that says something like go to the next question. So answer the first question and then hit the button to go to the next question. So the first question you'll see on Mentimeter by going to Mentimeter.com, and I think Ivana has put the survey link in the chat. And you can also, for Facebook Live users, you scan the QR code or go to Menti.com and you can enter the code 903751. So what we'd like you to do is, in your experience of teaching online now, can you describe in 3 words what your experience has been? So please answer in Mentimeter. If for some reason it doesn't necessarily work, you can answer in the chat too, but we'd like you to pop it into Mentimeter so we can see your answers come in. Sure, I can repeat the code. It is, actually, I'm kind of pixelated here, just a second. Ivana, would you be able to put the code back into chat real quick, please? And let me grab you the code. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see it on my screen right now. Thank you, Ivana. 903751. That's great. Thank you. Okay, I see we have some different comments coming out. So demanding, challenging. Looks like challenging is kind of the biggest word here. Tiring, okay. Demanding, difficult, interesting. Looks like challenging is the number one. That's represented by the biggest word in this word cloud. Interesting, demanding, exhausting, tired, difficult, stressful. Okay, go ahead. Feel free to keep entering your responses if you haven't yet. If you have, please go to the next question. Okay, good. And the next question deals with some more half full type things. So what have you actually been enjoying about teaching online? And let me have a look. I'm getting a little bit pixelated on my end, so I can't see your responses very well, but I think they'll start to fade in. Not having to go to school. Kevin, would you mind reading a few answers out? I'm having a tough time seeing the responses on my end. They're a little bit pixelated. Can you see them better?
Sure, we got a great one. I don't need to commute every day. Another challenge is lack of community. Student and evaluations after teaching. What have you? So I'm actually reading from the chat box right now. Okay. We understand that the screen is not quite clear for everybody.
Okay, that's all right. If it's not, that's okay. We'll try to get an image and share it with you somehow a little bit later. But I see in the chat box, in the chat function also. So you have flexible hours, yeah. More comfortable, no makeup, no transportation, isn't it? It's kind of nice. And you have time for
no makeup. I've seen quite a few people putting makeup on before Zoom sessions.
Just use the functions. Oh, somebody said that they've been pleasantly surprised about students' digital competence. I've seen that as well. That's been really rewarding to see how creative students can be, or maybe how students who usually didn't speak up much in class are able to express themselves. It's another perspective on teaching. I like that a lot. That's Izana says that another perspective. Okay. Alina is saying flexible time at work. Blerta says more time with students. Simona says that there's more flexible time, or Mariana says students can share ideas at the same time. Hello, Stina from Poland. So let's say, okay, flexible time. So I'm seeing a trend. More authentic materials. We don't have to stick with the textbook as much. Okay. Simona says it's more intimate, paradoxically. Yeah, so it can be. Using more tech. You can organize your own timetable. I'm finding that it's nice. You can do those things that you normally only have a short break for at school. You can do those on your own time, including finishing your coffee before you grade things. Using videos, you can answer. So flexibility seems to be the key with interaction. Great. Everything's available. When I'm turning my head, by the way, I'm looking at your chats, just so you know, there's nothing interesting over there, but what's really fascinating is your chats down here on my iPad. So, okay, thank you. Great. Okay, let's continue. So it looks like there are trends in the challenges that you're experiencing, but also the things that you're enjoying about the experience of teaching online. And I'd like to take a look at some tools and get your feedback on what tools you're using to do all of this. Email is classic one that probably we were using before anyway. Another tool for communication is chat, like what we're doing now live, or a chat function in a Google Doc, or a chat function in maybe a school platform, something like that. Also, I mean, phone calls. I think phone calls are really useful, especially when talking to parents. I know in my experience, especially clarifying things at the beginning when parents and kids and teachers were all sort of overwhelmed about, okay, what are we doing? Nothing's working. The internet crashed. Phone calls sometimes are more direct, and online learning platforms as well. And then you have meeting sessions like Zoom, for example. So here's another question. And I'm going to ask you to take out your piece of paper. And whoever just got back from a walk, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right this second, but hopefully you're able to get back from your walk and grab a piece of paper. So take a piece of paper and make a little list, or write 1 or 2 or 3 things about what you are using, what tools you're using to communicate with students and teachers these days. And when you're ready, hold that up to the camera and we will have a look. So for example, if you hold up your tool, WhatsApp, I'm actually using WhatsApp only for colleagues, not with students. And I'll look at your chats as well. Phone, Skype, email. Skype, I didn't even mention that, but that's another great one. Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay. Sonia, can you hold it up a little bit closer, please? Sonia, it looks like you're sitting outside. That's cool. Zoom, email. Okay, thank you. Great. I'm flicking, I'm switching back between all of your pictures because I can only see 5 of you or 6 of you at a time. So if you can hold up your answers again, please.
I've got a Viber.
Yeah, Zoom,
Google Classroom,
WhatsApp, phone, Google Classroom.
Facebook. Okay.
Great. So some of you who are familiar with Google Classroom, that's great. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Okay, so one thing I like to think about when I'm choosing an online tool, because there are so many to choose from, is whether the tool enhances my lesson or whether it distracts from my lesson. And by distract, I mean, maybe some of you have experienced this, where you ask students to try a new tool, or you require them to try a tool, and the trying the tool is difficult for them. It's more difficult than if you just did the exercise or the activity in a way that they were more familiar with. So tools can seem to be practical and efficient, but they can also distract from your goal of whatever point you're trying to teach or whatever point you're trying to make. So sometimes the choice of tools to use can be overwhelming. And I try to think of it as I'm controlling the tools. The tools are not controlling me. And I know sometimes it seems maybe difficult because we're so dependent on the internet, but I think that's kind of a good thing to keep in mind, that you have the choice, that the tools aren't controlling you. And it's okay to use pen and paper. It's okay to use old-fashioned or traditional tools because we have them available, and why not? Like I just did for you. Classera is easy to use. Do you have, okay, thank you. WebEx, okay, I've used WebEx as well. Yeah, Isada, you mentioned the first week was stressful because of this. We had the experience here where all of a sudden every kid in Austria was online, and the system, our learning platform system, completely crashed, like nationwide. So that was very frustrating, and we alleviated it. But Edmodo, as some people are also using as well. Okay. WebEx is another good platform that I've used. Yeah. Okay. All right. Another question. And this is also on Mentimeter. So you can use if you haven't answered the question already, you can. And if you need the information, I see that Ivana has put it into the chat again. And for Facebook Live users, go to menti.com and enter the code 903751. The question is, when I say the word interactive, what do you think of? Ooh, parents are joining online classes, says Isabella. That sounds very stressful. Wow. Okay, this question, I think you already answered it. So when I say interactive, you think of internet, communication. Okay. This is so neat. I can see all of your responses like clustering activity, and I hope you can see it as well. Activity, interaction, games, cooperation, feedback, online, communication. I'm also looking at your responses come into the chat. Okay.
This is great, isn't it? Watching the
This
cloud
is really,
develop.
yeah, it's really nice. And I see that the biggest word is still communication and feedback.
I'm really rooting for fun. Fun was doing pretty well for a while. Fun.
Maybe feedback is going to take over. Okay, by the way, while we're waiting for responses to come in, if you've already responded, can you give me your favorite emoji? Let's see how if you can use the emoji function here. Can everyone pop up an emoji, please? I don't see any emojis yet on your screen. Yay, Melda, I see your thumbs up. Ludmila, Milka, hello, I see your thumbs up. Thank you. Krishnik, Sokolai, hi. Tanya, I see your applause. Simona, hello, thumbs up. Everyone pop up an emoji. Amer, hi. I'm scrolling through the list. Seti, I hope I pronounced your name right. Robert, Elsa. Just give me a little emoji, pop up to see if it's working. Okay. All right, it looks like we've got kind of a good time to look at the graphic. Communication looked to be the main thing. Oh, now I have a view where I can see more of you. Cool. Okay. Oh, there's Kevin and Ivana. Hello. All right. So cool. Neat to see everybody's. So I'm detecting the theme of communication, feedback, games, interaction, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to just show you a few things that I think of when I think of interaction and how I've used them in my classroom. And these are just to share some ideas with you. The first thing I think of is real-time interaction, which is like what we're doing right now. This is happening live. There's sessions at a set time every day. You have to be there at a certain time and to participate. By the way, one way that I like to make sure students are all participating is by literally asking a question and just having them hold up a piece of paper, because then you can visually see who's participating and who's not. Although I liked when, oh yeah, you don't have emojis. That's okay. That's all right. I see you're here. I like though somebody who mentioned that the students say, oh, I don't have any internet because they don't want to come to class. Yeah, clever. Another real-time interaction would be something like students quizzing each other on WhatsApp. Student A sends a vocabulary word to student B. Student B writes a sentence, sends it back to student A, and student A checks it, whether it's right or wrong, for example. And phone calls can also be real-time interaction. So there are lots of different ways that we do this. There's also interaction with the actual task, and from the student's point of view, from the teacher's point of view. Has anybody ever, and if you have, give me a thumbs up, have you ever received a homework assignment like this on your computer? And this is actually a photo that a student sent me and uploaded onto our course platform. She had five pages of exercises to do, and she sent me a photo of her homework, which is what I requested. And I know that she did it because this is a very good student, but she took a picture of all 5 pages, and I can't really see like what she actually did, but I thought it was very cute that she did what I asked. So it's important to clarify what it is that you're actually requesting. All right, next. Most students submit their homework like this, at least in my case. They're writing the homework by hand still, largely, if not exclusively. This is from a class of second form students, so they're age 12 or so. And this was a vocabulary list, and the student wrote the list and sent a photo and uploaded it. So this is a way that a student can submit work to me, and also a way that I can look at it and give her points and enter the points into our online course management program. So that's one method. But another method that doesn't take much more time, that I think is more interactive, and the students appreciate the small gesture. This is an idea I got from a math teacher at our school, is to return the homework with your own handwritten comment, just like you would have done in class. So it's easy to do if a student submits a photo in the form of a JPEG, because you just go to the paint or draw function, and you can go in and actually just with your finger on the touchpad or mouse or whatever, you can sort of handwrite a comment, and then you save it and send it back to your student that way. Ah, someone says you always do that. Good. Okay, you correct the homework like that. Okay, or use a stylus, like if you're using an iPad or something like that. Yeah, I think this just gives students the affirmation that, okay, she actually looked at it and she took the time to look at it instead of just giving me points. Another thing I like to do is think.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a question. A good question. Yeah. Is it important to be timely when you're responding to students nowadays when they submit work?
I believe, especially in the online mode, that it is. And because it seems like time is accelerated when you're doing things online in a lot of ways. And yeah, I think it is important for teachers to get back to students like within 24, 48 hours of the student sending you an email, for example. I mean, with assignments, you obviously might need more time. But one thing I've noticed being at home at school these days is because you don't have that physical interaction every day, the students don't know, like, did you get my homework? Did she get my email? What's going on? So yes, I do think it's important to respond to students.
Not only that, but we have to compete with all the other platforms, because Instagram, Facebook, they're expecting people to respond to them now.
Yeah. And people are used to really, really quick responses. And to further answer the question, I know from students who don't hear from their teachers, they get really frustrated. The students say, well, the teacher only emails us once a week, or it takes a week for the teacher to respond to my email. So I do think it's important to communicate with the students in a timely manner or reply. Returning homework, that depending on maybe the assignment, that can take more or less time, but there are things that you can do to let them know that you're on it. Good question. Students are tired of such a lot of homework. Yeah, and if you don't respond, someone, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost the comment. I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry. It's important to check assessment on time, because if you don't respond, they lose interest. And that's what Kevin just mentioned as well, that you're competing with other social media and other things online. Okay, another thing that I do with students to present new material to them is I make them little videos, and I use the material that's in their book to introduce, for example, a new grammar point. And I literally film myself with my phone. It's quite simple. I use iMovie, and I upload it on to a YouTube channel that's unlisted, and I send them the link. And I use paper and pen just like I would in the class, because that kind of replicates the classroom experience for students. And they so far have given me very positive feedback. They're like, oh, we love it. It's so, clever and funny, and we understood the grammar. And they also have an e-version of their book, and the e-version includes like these grammar videos with a sort of a prescriptive explanation of the grammar. So that's helpful. But I think when the teacher makes a video, the teacher can add a little bit more personality. They can see you physically. And I purposely do things by hand on paper. Like, if anybody's birthday is today, happy birthday, by the way. I write things by hand because I think it gives it kind of that personal touch. And that's an important feeling of validation for the students. So I'm going to just show you a few screenshots of what I've done here. Oh, somebody asked me what an unlisted YouTube channel. Karen asked me what an unlisted YouTube channel is. If you set up a YouTube account, and I can't remember if YouTube is through Google these days because I can't remember who owns what. You can upload a video, and before you publish it, you can select who has access to it. And the unlisted is one of the options. You can either make it public so anybody in the world can see it, or you can make it unlisted so that only people who have the link can see it. And you can also make it private so that only you can see it. I wouldn't have a problem with making it private. I just don't think it needs to be because it's really just targeted at my group of students. So someday maybe I'll be a grammar YouTuber. I don't know. Voice and video recording as well. Write by hand lesson. Okay, yeah, Esmeralda also says that she writes by hand so they can feel like they're in class. I think that's an important aspect because I could also give them this explanation on a whiteboard in Zoom, which is one sensation, but I feel like there's something about the handwritten element that's important. PowerPoint presentations, also a good idea. Oh, how to add video. Maria asks, Maria, I'm going to note your question down and let me come back to that. Okay. How to use video or movies. Sure. Google Slides. Oh yeah. We're going to talk about Google Slides tomorrow. Okay. Can we access your channel? Yes, Karen, you can. I will figure out how to get that to you or post it in our Google Classroom, which I'm not going to reveal until tomorrow. But yes, I will. If I can, I'll put it in the chat, but if I can't manipulate several screens at once, I won't. It doesn't make sense. I will give it to you. The answer is yes, Karen. Karen at NC. Okay, next slide, please. No problem, Karen. So anyway, as I mentioned, I do handwritten things, and I also take, for example, the students' like workbook. Like I just physically take their book. This isn't the workbook, but you get the idea. And I film myself like this, writing the answers in the workbook, because for some students, they get the answers right away. And they're like, okay, I got it, let's move on. But I realize for some who need a little bit more time, them actually watching me write it in the blank, like they have to, it's really helpful. And they can then freeze the frame of the screen and they can check the answers. The answers are also listed in the back of the book, but students may or may not actually check them because that involves going all the way to the back, flipping back and forth. So this is just a way to make it a bit more interactive for them, I believe. And I could do this all in electronic format, but as I mentioned before, there's something to the handwritten element that makes it more personal and connects the physical classroom with the digital space. Okay, and this is I'm showing you this picture because this is an uploaded picture that I got from one student who, after watching my grammar video, she sent me this, and she didn't have to. I didn't ask her to do this, but she literally wrote notes from my video. And I was so impressed, like, oh, now that's in her notebook. Okay, so this gave me feedback that she understood it, but also she took the time to write it down. I thought that was really nice. Maybe she thought she was supposed to, but I didn't really ask her to. And these notes also are not the same as the grammar explanation in her textbook. So she didn't just copy it from her book. She actually wrote it from my video. So that was interesting feedback that I got. And yeah, she still spells grammar with ER, but we'll work on that later. Another little surprise interaction that I got from a student, I'm calling this the secret message, because one thing I've noticed about being away from students physically is you miss those sort of like interpersonal, like little jokes or like little senses of humor or little things that can be quite charming about, like, especially age 10 to 14 or so. I mean, older students too, but the younger ones, they're kind of blossoming in finding their own way with their senses of humor and the way that they feel confident or not so confident yet. And this boy sent me his homework as a Word document, and instead of writing it by hand, which was fine. And he uploaded it onto our course management platform. And I noticed that there was if you look on the left, there's a little red squiggle by where it says page 10, exercise 14. And there was a smiley face. And I thought, that underlined squiggle, that indicates a spelling mistake. And I thought, there's text in there, but he just whited it out. So this is what I did. I highlighted it and changed the color. And I found a little secret message that says, Miss Hundley, if you can read this, you are a genius. So I thought that was very clever that he provided a secret hidden note inside of his homework assignment. And I responded to him in red with got it and a little smiley face and sent it back to him. So I think maybe he was like, ha ha ha, she got my little secret message. So this is another part of interaction that I'm finding very stimulating also online, where you can really see students' creativity and their personalities kind of shine through. And I don't think this would have happened in a non-digital format. Maybe, I don't know, he might have drawn a picture or something, but I don't know. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. So I'm going to show you a video that's not from a student, but it's a funny little thing that has nothing to do directly with teaching, but that's okay. And I wanted to mention some student feedback as well. Give me a thumbs up if you have heard the song Thank You Baked Potato by British comedian Matt Lucas. Give me a thumbs up. Let's see. I'm not seeing any thumbs up, so maybe that means you don't. Oh, you don't know it. You don't know Thank You Baked Potato? That's great. So I get the honor of showing you. Oh, I'm so excited. Yay. Okay. So let's go back to the previous slide, please. So Thank You Baked Potato is a song by comedian Matt Lucas, who you may know as one half of Little Britain. And he's extremely talented. And I think the song is actually quite old, but he re-released it as part of a fundraiser for the National Health System at the NHS in the UK. And here it is. Thank You Baked Potato.
Baked potato changed my life. Baked potato showed me the way. If you want to know what is wrong from right, you must listen to what potatoes say.
Wash your hands and stay indoors.
Thank you, baked potato.
Only visit grocery stores.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say.
Keep your distance, make some space.
Thank you, baked potato.
Remember not to touch your face.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say. B-A-K-E-T-P-O-T-A-T-O. Baked potato.
Yay. Okay, give me a hands up if you liked it. Give me an applause if you liked it. Emoji or by hand or... Oh, Estella, I can't see. Can you hold it closer, please? Yes. Thank you. Okay, give me a clap if you like that song. Yay. Kevin, your guitar is great. Okay. So by the way, if you go to hashtag Thank You Baked Potato, you will find lots of variations that people have made all over the UK and the world. And actually, there are also duets with the artist Matt Lucas and other famous people doing it. So after this webinar, maybe you can go to hashtag Thank You Baked Potato and see all the different versions. So what does this have to do with anything? Well, what I do is I usually post online bonus assignments for students, and they don't have to do them as part of their grade, but I just find these little current vignettes or current things that are happening, and I post them for students just because English is everywhere. And if they want to check it out, they can. And could you show us the previous slide again real quick so we can see the baked potato picture? Thank you. And one student who listened to this, I didn't ask him, but he drew a picture of a baked potato. So there is his baked potato. And that was a nice surprise because I know he listened to the song and took it seriously. And I also got some student feedback, and these students are age 10 and 11. And the one who drew the potato said that the video with the orchestra, by the way, that was one of the second versions that I posted, was beautiful. I like classical music. I'm also study piano. But that's neat because I didn't know he played piano and he likes classical music. So they've been learning English since September. This is pretty good, I would say, for that he can express himself. And another boy said the song's funny, but a little bit ridiculous. I mean, some of you also may be thinking like, this song is kind of silly and strange. What does it have to do with anything? But it's catchy and it's used for a fundraiser, so it's nice. It's a bit strange that a potato explains the measures of the coronavirus. So I think this is another way to interact with students, is give them the opportunity to provide their own insights without the pressure of any grades or anything. And I do this in the format of bonus assignments that the students can do or not. And you could turn this into something that you would grade. Okay, another question. And I see, and music, Mark, hey Mark, someone says he says good to be silly in times like these. I agree, humor is really important. Music is also inspiring. Music, Egla says music is inspiring. Yes, Eva, Learning English Kids with British Council. Excellent. There's some really good resources there. I really, really have used that, especially for students who need some extra help. Can you please tell us what your students have experienced in their, in their experience learning online, and just answer in the chat. I see someone has already written that they want to pass. So what have your students shared with you about their online learning experience? And feel free just to add your responses in the chat. Flexibility, they like it. They want to go back to school. Sure. They feel at ease. Maybe they don't have to only talk about school. They can talk about other things.
I never would have dreamed that so many students want to go back to school.
Yeah.
I know they want to get out of their house. But.
This is what's interesting to me, because, I think it's easy for us adults to complain about the amount of screen time that a lot of kids are exposed to. And, oh, they're always on their phones. Oh, they're always, doing this and doing that. Which, sure, I can see why, because it happens all the time. Everybody's on their phone. But this experience has shown me how important the human contact is, especially socially, for us too as adults, but especially for young teens and teenagers and kids. They need the physical social proximity of their peers, and they miss it. So I don't think we human beings are going to be replaced too quickly. They spend time at home. It's boring. They miss classmates, internet difficulties. They feel like they have to work more. Eddie says they feel like they have to work more. I've heard that from students as well at our school, that they feel like that they have more work. And I think, because I asked some of them what they meant, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but I think as English teachers, we're used to having a lot of work, grading, reading, writing, especially if you're teaching essays or you're English teachers, you know what I mean? I think our workload is high already. And I think the students, at least in my case here, they're experiencing more workload from other subjects that don't traditionally have as much written work. So like geography or art classes or things like that. So yeah, that there's more. It's interesting, that comment that there's more work. And they appreciate your work, yeah, okay. And they miss, it's hard to replicate the in-person experience online, sure. And they're feeling more relaxed using technology, okay. Great. They miss the teacher's presence too, okay. Keep entering your chats, that's great to see. I'm gonna continue, so feel free to keep entering comments in the chat box. One thing I have also noticed with, because I'm teaching like young, I'm going to call them tweens, like age, 10 to 12, and then teenagers, is this social media. First of all, they're all using different social media modes. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Facebook is just for like old people like us apparently now. Um, so they're using all kinds of different things. I think there's one called House Party. And it's really important in person to be liked and to be popular, but it's more heightened, I think, in the online world. So the amount of importance that they place on something like Instagram or being liked on an online source is really important. And I think this can also be included in class within reason. TikTok, oh yeah, TikTok videos. So I'm mentioning Instagram, and I'm not saying like I teach Instagram exclusively, or I teach English exclusively through Instagram. That's not what I'm saying. What I would like to do is mention Instagram because one of my classes of 14-year-olds, and some of you maybe have heard of this hashtag Grammar Unicorn, they have these just funny, strange jokes that they share in my class, or they'll just write funny things on the board, and a lot of times they'll think it's hilarious and I won't necessarily get it, but that's okay because it's their humor, not necessarily mine. So I take pictures of things that they create and I put it on my personal Instagram page, which I only use for photos and school things. But school things, not mentioning names or faces. And they can like it and they can connect that way. They can share it with their friends. They're like, oh, look at this cool little joke we have for my English class. So it's just kind of a way to keep these insider jokes going while we're not seeing each other in person. Let's go to the next one. And these are just to show you some of the funny things that they post, and they think they're hilarious. And with Instagram also, I will mention that it's very important to consider data safety, especially with children who are under 18 or under 13. You want to make sure that you are not compromising anything that could compromise their safety. And when in doubt, talk to the school or their parents, etc. So I would use social media with caution to data protection. Oh no, Facebook is for old people. And privacy and safety are important. Actually, this is something that I've talked to students about. We haven't talked about it since we've been at home online, but we talked about it in person. Maybe it'll come up again. Is they've told me things that they have experienced as Instagram users. They'll be like, yeah, this adult man who I don't know is bothering me on Instagram, and I told my mom, and what do we do? And it's super creepy. So it's very important to take those things seriously. Okay. All right, we're on the okay, good. This is fine. Good. No, that's fine. That's okay. That's fine. Good. That's okay. So with interaction, I think in general, you can think of you have task interaction that is part of fulfilling the task that you've set out for the day or the lesson. And then you have all this extra stuff that's happening on the side, like student comments, my little secret messages, all these other things that come up that can kind of inform your own teaching and make it a lot of fun and challenging. Last thing today that I think shows task interaction and non-task interaction. Who's heard of Flipgrid? And what I want you to do is raise your right hand if you've heard of Flipgrid. Raise your right hand. Okay. I see. I'm flipping through the, I want to see everybody's faces. If you've heard of Flipgrid, raise your right hand. If you have not heard of Flipgrid, just leave your hands down. And if you've not heard of Flipgrid, that's okay, because again, it will be an honor to show you what it is. Okay, keep your right hand raised. Raise your left hand if you've used Flipgrid in your life before. No? Okay. I'm trying to see if I have some. Oh, good. Actually, it's good that we don't have so many users. So I'll see, let's just check. Wave your hands if you've used Flipgrid with students before. Okay, all right. So Flipgrid is program. It's an app, or you go to the website. It's an external thing that you use to make videos. And I really enjoy using this with students. I'm going to give you a little homework assignment for this week. What? There's homework? A little bit. You don't have to do it, but we sure would love it if you did it. Take out a piece of paper, make a list of, it says 5 things, but you can write 1 to 5 of things that you've been doing during quarantine, and hold them up to your camera to share. Maybe they can be things that you have done before. Maybe they're new things that you've been doing. Oh, Maria says now they can't live without Flipgrid. You use this part of your speaking exam. Ooh, okay. If you come back on checking student progress day, I would love to talk to you more about that. That would be interesting. All right. For example, Netflix. What are some things that you've been doing during quarantine? Hold up your responses, please. Kevin, is there a way I can get a view of more participants?
Yes, you can.
Or do I just see, because I can just see. I've
You
been
can
watching
scroll
Netflix.
through them, but
Oh,
keep in
Rudina,
mind,
can you
we've
hold
just-
it up to your camera so I can see, please? Hello, Karen. I think I need new reading glasses. I just can't really see very well. Netflix, exercising. Oh, baking. Tanya, what did you say? Tanya, what did you say about Italy? I'm sorry, I didn't see the whole thing. Can you hold it up again, please, Tanya? Oh, connecting with people okay, connecting with people in Italy. Okay, good. And let's see, I'm not trying to cut you out. Sorry, that was a gesture. I should have used words. Can you hold that up to reading, painting, watching Netflix, watching online, chatting online? Okay, that's okay, Kevin. We're okay. I can scroll through. That's fine.
Okay, cool. We've got about 3 minutes remaining.
Yep. Okay. So the last thing I want to show you, next slide, please, is, and I think if we can just go ahead and show the link, we don't even need to go to the website. That's okay. And Ivana, would you be able to put this link in the chat? So what I'd like you to do is go to flipgrid.com, and you're going to see 2 different assignments. You're going to see 5 ways to stay busy during the quarantine. Thank you. And you're going to see living rooms around the world. So I'd like to invite you to make one or both of those Flipgrids. And I have Flipgrids there already, so you can see some examples. And for our Facebook Live users, you can go to the Flipgrid app and enter the codes that you see on this slide. And Olia, the link should be in the chat. I see that Ivana has put it in the chat. Reading a lot. Yes, Katya says reading a lot. Okay. So the link to the Flipgrids is in the chat.
Facebook Live people can actually go there and use the code, right? By typing
Yes, they can. There are 2 different codes because they're actually 2 different assignments. Should I read those out loud, or they can see them on the screen? I think they can see them on the screen.
They can see them on the screen.
Great. Okay. Okay. So to wrap up, I showed you a few ways to promote interaction during a synchronous event like we're doing right now, something happening live, using gestures. Everyone give me a wave. Hello. Hi. Wave. I'm scrolling through the different users. Give me a wave. Also emojis. Can you give me your favorite emoji? I think I've come to the, oh, there's some emojis. Also, writing something on a piece of paper and holding it up to the camera is a really easy way to get feedback and promote interaction. And also to share with you that interaction is everywhere. I mean, there's student-teacher interaction, student-student interaction, interaction with the material. And we'll talk more about student-student collaboration in the next session, by the way. And the classroom community is also important to keep in mind. What are the students into? What could you do to learn about students as people? And also, what can you learn about their skills? You know, when you get feedback from a written feedback or oral feedback from a student, well, that can tell you also a lot about their grammar, their vocabulary, their pronunciation. So there's interaction everywhere and all the time. And I think this is heightened in the online environment when we don't have the face-to-face experience. Okay, tomorrow, I'd love to see you back, same time, same station. Google Classroom tips and activities. And I would like to encourage, especially people who've never used Google Classroom, to come. And if you have, that would be great also, because I probably will learn some things from you as well. So that's tomorrow. And very, very last is we'd like to get your feedback on this session today. So I think Ivana is putting a link in the chat, and we are going to ask you a question again on Mentimeter. For our Facebook Live viewers, you have a QR code that you can simply scan, and this is great. You just take your phone and bloop, it goes right there. It's super cool. Ivana is like the magic person who knows how to do that kind of stuff. So that works. Or you can go to menti.com and enter the code 437692. 437692. And please leave your feedback there. And someone said that they may have joined late, and that's okay. These are recorded, so you'll be able to go back and watch them.
Oh, there's also another show at 7 p.m. tonight.
That's true.
It
another
has a
show.
different meeting ID, so you'll have to get that from our page. But thank you so much, Lisa, for today's session. And thank you, participants. We had a lot of chat box activity.
Yes.
There are 350 of you.
Thank you, everybody.
A great session. So tomorrow we will be here again at 4 o'clock to learn tips for using Google Classroom. Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to say goodbye from Belgrade. And Lisa, goodbye from...
Bye. Thank you, everybody. It's nice to see you.
Okay, take care. I hope we see you tonight or tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.